All right. What's going on, people? It, uh, I can't move this. Oh, wait. All right. So, again, for those who don't know, I guess I should say who I am. I'm Jamiel. Hi there. I'm Jamiel Cal-Pin. I'm a content creator, podcaster, voice actor. I do a lot of different things. And so, what I am doing or trying to do is to practice in public by practicing my voiceover stuff, um, while also doing the personal and self development stuff that I do normally, which is I like to read nonfiction or self help kind of stuff. And so I figured, why not share that with you all while I'm practicing my voiceover? I can practice reading, so I can practice in public. I can read for myself, and I can also share and practice in front of you all. So I figured I'd just do that while reading. So um, I will be reading. I'm starting to read Real Artists Don't Starve by Jeff Goins. And the subtitle is Timeless Strategies for Thriving in the New Creative Age. And I've been wanting to read this book for a long time. Actually, it came out. I feel like it came out in like 2016 or 17. Anyways, but I've been wanting to read it for a very long time, and I actually have the time to start reading it. So I'm only going to try to read for a little bit today. I think I put my timer down for 20 minutes. So we're going to hop in to reading this. Again, it's Real Artists Don't Starve by Jeff Goins. I like Jeff Goins as an author. One of my favorite books by him is The Art of Work. So I would definitely recommend checking that out, because I think it's The Art of Work. It might be The Work of Art. No, it's The Art of Work. But it encourages, trying to find the definite work that you are designed for in your life, and how there's a thread throughout all of our lives that identifies and that we can relate to, and it's a work that's there for us to all do, but oftentimes we don't pay attention to it, we don't see it, we're not aware of it, but once we are, that means we can get in alignment with maybe what that purpose is for that season of life that we're in, and I think it's magical. I think that's an awesome thing. But anyways, we're going to get into this before my timer goes out. So again, Real Artists Don't Starve, Timeless Strategies for Thriving in the New Creative Age by Jeff Goins. Best-selling author of The Art of Work. I was right. Okay. All right, so let's see. We're going to start with the introduction.
Okay, I love you too. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll be out.
Sorry, I'm again practicing in public. All right, introduction. Myth of the Starving Artist. The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. Michelangelo Buonarroti. I'm assuming it's that Michelangelo. All right. In 1995, an American professor made an unusual discovery. At Syracuse University in Florence, Rab Hadfield was trying to match the scenes of the Sistine Chapel to the dates Michelangelo had painted each of them. Since the artist had received commissions in various installments, the professor thought there might be a paper trail. So he went to the city archives. Surprised at how easy it was to locate 500-year-old bank records, he began reconstructing a more accurate timeline for how the most famous ceiling in the world came to be. And that's when he saw it. I was really looking for something else, the professor yelled into the phone from his office in Italy, decades later. Every time I run across something, it's because I was looking for something else, which I consider real discovery. It's when you don't expect it that you really discover something. With a PhD from Harvard, Professor Hadfield had begun his career at Yale in 1966 before moving to Syracuse University in 1971. And in all that time of teaching art history, he had never encountered anything like this. What he found in those records was not what you would expect to find digging around in the bank account of an artist, even one whose fame would grow with each passing century. I don't know how much you know about Michelangelo, he told me, but usually they taught us that he kind of struggled like Vincent van Gogh. For centuries, This is what historians believed about the great Renaissance master. He was just another starving artist, struggling to make ends meet. Michelangelo himself embraced this image, living frugally, and often complaining about money. He once wrote in a poem that his art had left him poor, old, and working as a servant of others. But it turns out he wasn't telling the truth. When Rab Hatfield dug into those old bank records, the truth about the Renaissance most famous artist was finally revealed. He was not struggling at all. He was not poor, and he was not starving for his art, a fact we have been getting wrong ever since. Michelangelo was, in fact, very rich. One record showed a balance of hundreds of thousands of dollars, a rare sum of money for an artist at the time. When he saw those figures, the professor forgot all about the Sistine Chapel. With his curiosity piqued, he went to see if there were more bank records. And there were more, many more. In the end, Professor Hatfield uncovered a fortune worth roughly $47 million today, making Michelangelo the richest artist of the Renaissance. And to this day, this is a story that surprises us. We are accustomed to a certain story about artists, one that says they are barely getting by. But Michelangelo did not suffer or starve for his work. A multi-millionaire and successful entrepreneur, he was, in the words of one journalist, a pivotal figure in the transition of creative geniuses from people regarded and paid as craftsmen to people accorded. Hold on. All right, let's pick up here. A multimillionaire and successful entrepreneur, he was, in the words of one journalist, a pivotal figure in the transition of creative geniuses from people regarded and paid as craftsmen to people accorded a different level of treatment and compensation. In other words, the master sculptor and painter wasn't just some art school dropout struggling for his art. He was a rainmaker. When I asked Rab Hatfield what Michelangelo's millions meant for us today, he said, "I don't think it means a whole lot. But I disagree. I think this changes everything." Birth of a myth. 200 years after Michelangelo died, Henry Murger was born the son of a tailor and concierge in France. Living in Paris, he was surrounded by creative geniuses and dreamed of joining them, but grew frustrated with his failure to find financial security. In 1847, Murger published Scenes de la Vie de Bohème, a collection of stories that playfully romanticized poverty. The result was some literary acclaim, persistent struggle, and an untimely end to a penniless life. The book limped along after the author's death, being adapted first as the opera La Bohème and later as a film, eventually achieving widespread acclaim with spin-offs including Rent and Moulin Rouge. Murger's Scenes launched the concept of the starving artist into the public's understanding as the model for a creative life. To this day, it endures as the picture for what we imagine when we think of the word artist. The story of the starving artist overshadows the quiet, relatively unknown tale of Michelangelo's success, and has become our most popular understanding of what's possible for creative people, which is to say, not much. Today, we find the remnants of this story nearly everywhere we look. It is the advice we give a friend who dreams of painting for a living, what we tell a coworker who wants to write a novel, or even the tale we tell our children when they head out into the real world. Be careful, we say ominously. Don't be too creative. You just might starve. But what we forget is that the story of the starving artist is a myth. And like all myths, it may be a powerful story, one we can orient our entire lives around. But, in the end, it is still just a story. The story of the starving artist is a myth. Thanks to the power of this myth, many of us take the safe route in life. We become lawyers instead of actresses, bankers instead of poets, and doctors instead of painters. We hedge our bets and hide from our true calling, choosing less risky careers because it seems easier. Nobody wants to struggle, after all, so we keep our passion a hobby and follow a predictable path toward mediocrity. But what if you could make a living as an artist? What would that change about the way we approach our work and how we consider creativity's importance in our world today? What would that mean for the careers we choose and the paths we encourage our kids to follow? In the early Renaissance, artists did not have reputations for being diligent workers. They were considered manual laborers, receiving meager commissions for their work. Michelangelo, however, changed that. After him, every artist began to see a new pattern and a new way of doing things. In the words of William Wallace, professor of art history at Washington University in St. Louis, Michelangelo established the idea that an artist could become a new figure in society and have a higher social standing, and also that they could become financially successful. Michelangelo did not need to starve for his creations, and neither do you. When the painter of the Sistine Chapel amassed an incredible fortune and secured his legacy as one of history's masters, he broke the glass ceiling for future generations. Today, however, his contribution has been all but forgotten. We have bought into the myth of the starving artist, thinking of artists as unfortunate bohemians who struggle at the lowest end of society. Rarely do we think of creatives as wealthy or successful, even cracking jokes about the wastefulness of art degrees and theater classes. We have heard how pursuing creativity is not a safe career move, whether that means chasing an interest in literature, music, or some other endeavor. All my life, I heard it from well-meaning teachers, friends, and relatives. The advice was always the same: get a good degree, have something to fall back on, and don't quit your day job. Creativity, though a nice outlet for self-expression, is not something we think a person should go all in on for a career, because odds are you'll starve, right? The truth, though, is quite different. Sometimes, though, an artist does succeed. A singer releases a platinum record, an author hits a bestseller list, a filmmaker launches a blockbuster. We tend to dismiss these moments as rare instances of an artist getting lucky or selling out. But what if that wasn't the whole picture? When we look at history's most famous artists, we see something curious. It's the same thing we observe in the lives of creatives making a living today. When we hear the cautionary tales and warnings about what it means to be an artist, there's an important truth we must embrace. You don't have to starve. A new kind of artist. In this book, I want to offer a very simple but challenging argument. Real artists don't starve. Making a living off your creative talent has never been easier, and to show you it's possible, I will share examples of well-known artists, creatives, and entrepreneurs who did not have to suffer to create their best work. And I will also introduce you to a contemporary group of professionals who are experiencing surprising amounts of success in their creative work. Finally, I will try to convince you that the idea of the starving artist is a useless myth that holds us back more than it helps us. Today, with more opportunity than ever to share our work with the world, we need a different model for creative work. The myth of the starving artist has long since overstayed its welcome, and what we need now is a return to a model that doesn't require creative workers to suffer for their art. We need a new renaissance. The world needs our work, whether that's an idea for a book, a vision for a startup, or a dream for a community, and you shouldn't have to struggle to create it. We all have creative gifts to share, and in that respect, we are all artists. But what does it mean to be a real artist? It means you are spending your time doing the things that matter most to you. It means you don't need someone else's permission to create. It means you aren't doing your work in secret, hoping someone may discover it someday. The world is taking you seriously. Do you have to become a millionaire like Michelangelo? Not at all. This is not a book about how to get rich selling art. It is a description of the way many professional artists, creatives, and entrepreneurs have succeeded, and you can join them. The goal here is to build a life that makes creating your best work not only possible, but inevitable. And so, we must exchange this idea of a starving artist with a new term: thriving artist. If you don't want your best work to die with you, You must train yourself to think and live differently than the ways we've been told artists behave. Don't starve for your art. Help it thrive. Inspired by the Michelangelo story, I was curious to see if there were other artists who were thriving. What I discovered was that not only was a new renaissance possible, it was already here. I encountered creatives in nearly every field who weren't starving at all. These artists may not have known of Michelangelo's, whatever, goes back and forth, riches, but they embodied his same approach to creative work and followed a similar set of principles I've now captured in this book. Here they are, the principles every thriving artist lives by, the rules of the new Renaissance. 1. The starving artist believes you must be born an artist. The thriving artist knows you must become one. 2. The starving artist strives to be original. The thriving artist steals from his influences. 3. The starving artist believes he has enough talent. The thriving artist apprentices under a master. 4. The starving artist is stubborn about everything. The thriving artist is stubborn about the right things. Excuse me. 5. The starving artist waits to be noticed. The thriving artist cultivates patrons. 6. The starving artist believes he can be creative anywhere. The thriving artist goes where creative work is already happening. 7. The starving artist always works alone. The thriving artist collaborates with others. 8. The starving artist does his work in private. The thriving artist practices in public. You see that? Yeah, the thriving artist practices in public. Anyway. 9. The starving artist works for free. The thriving artist always works for something. 10. The starving artist sells out too soon. The thriving artist owns his work. 11. The starving artist masters one craft. The thriving artist masters many. 12. The starving artist despises the need for money. The thriving artist makes money to make art. For the rest of this book, we will explore these rules in the context of 3 major themes: mindset, market, and money. In each part, I don't know where to look on, because I don't know how this works. Sorry, I get distracted, so whatever. Do I look at the camera? I'll look at the camera from now on, whatever. Let me start over, sorry. For the rest of this book, we will explore these rules in the context of 3 major themes: mindset, market, and money. In each part, we will take a significant step to shift from starving artists to thriving artists. First, we will master our mindset, tackling the internal challenges and conflicts we face to break out of the starving artist paradigm. We can't change our lives until we change our minds. Then, we will master the market, exploring the importance of relationships in creative work and how to usher our art into the world. Finally, we will master money, looking at what it means to make a living off our work so that we can use money to do better work. Each chapter is based on one of the 12 rules mentioned above, along with stories and case studies from the hundreds of interviews I conducted with contemporary creatives, artists, and entrepreneurs. The rules represent proven strategies to help you succeed. The more of these you follow, the more likely your success will be. This book is a manual designed to help you create work that matters. As you encounter the stories and lessons it contains, I hope you are challenged to follow in the footsteps of those who have come before you. I hope you realize that being a starving artist is a choice, not a necessary condition of doing creative work. And whether or not you starve is up to you. And I hope you are emboldened to join the ranks of the new Renaissance, embracing Michelangelo's belief that you can live both a creative life and a prosperous one, declaring to yourself and to the world that real artists don't starve, or at least they don't have to. All right, I'm going to stop there. I don't know if that was 20 minutes, but I'm going to stop there. But yes, that's the introduction to Real Artists Don't Starve: Timeless Strategies for Thriving in the New Creative Age by Jeff Goins. So I will be back tomorrow to continue on to the next section or the next chapter, which starts as part 1, mindset. Next chapter is You Aren't Born an Artist. All right, thank you guys for checking out, hanging out with me. Yep, there goes the timer. If you like these, leave a comment. Let me know that you're liking the reading. Let me know if you can't hear me or anything like that. I will try to work on enunciating better, getting better sound quality or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow to continue to practice in public. If you are interested in voiceover, or you want my help doing some voiceover work, or even if you just want like consulting, like if you're interested in voiceover and you want some advice, just hit me up. Or I have a lot of voiceover pages. I have a lot of pages for my creative stuff. Like I help people with podcasts. I help people with music. I do a lot. So if you're interested, just hit me up in my DMs, or you can go to my calpincreations.com website. Or if you're interested in my voiceover, you can go to jamielcalpinvo.com. And if you're interested in the podcast, Dude Make Something, just search for it in Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify. It's all there. But everybody have a great night. Again, I'm still working on a time, but I feel like I'm probably going to end up going live again late tomorrow. But thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Peace.